Oh, what's up, RotoGrinders? Dean here. It's Dean7904, joined today by Blender Jordan, Blender Head, Blender HD. It's 4:45 on the East Coast, so of course, that's it's the Grinders Live start of the show. We're starting early today. Obviously, the slate starts early. We got a little football content going on afterwards. The Crunch Time crew, y'all get Dave Potts. Cheese is good. You get DerekCarty, and of course, you get Chief Meteorologist Kevin Roth. I believe they're coming in about an hour. I want to say, let's say 5:50-ish, taking y'all up the lock, 3:35 on the West Coast, 6:35 on the East Coast. Why did I start with the West Coast first, Blender? That doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. Where are you? Are you in Colorado? Or where are you?
Yeah, I'm like Carmen Sandiego over here. No, I'm in South Florida right now. I'm on East Coast time, so you'd think I would say East Coast time first, but my brain went to 3, and I'm like, all right, I'm pot committed.
The people's time. You should say the people's time.
Is it the people's time? This is always a common debate, and we'll have time for all things DFS, taking you off the lock. Almost 2 hours for baseball when you include the Crunch Time crew. But is there a definitive best time zone? And obviously, some things are better. For sports, it depends. Maybe for live TV shows, for pay-per-views, for sitcoms, whatever. I mean, whoever watches whatever's on ABC or CBS, if you're not watching HBO Max on your app or whatever, is there a definitive best time zone to live in, all things considered?
It depends what type of person you are. I'm a night person, so East Coast time is the best time. If you're a morning person, West Coast time is the best time. But since I'm a night person, I've been in Las Vegas when I was playing poker or whatever, and when I would see I'd wake up at 11 o'clock and be like, why the football game's on? Why the hell are the and then it's 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night, and you're like, why are there no sports on? Right? Because you're on West Coast time. On East Coast, it's the other way around. Right? It's football doesn't start till 1 o'clock. It's I could get up at 11, that's no problem, right? And then you got the football games. Monday night football is actually occurring at night. Not like part of the workday.
So when I lived in Vegas, I remember this is many years ago. Well, I lived in Vegas in two different terms, I suppose, but yeah, you would wake up and your bet's already dead sometimes because if you kind of sleep in like me on a Sunday morning or something like that, betting a baseball game and you're betting an under or something like that, and you're waking up and it's the middle of the third inning and the game's 4-4, you go back to bed. You've already lost your bet. I suppose it's to each his own. Like Casey and chat's talking about 10 o'clock in the morning for NFL. That seems too early for me. And maybe I'm an East Coast guy and that's just the way I'm trained. That seems a little bit early. I kind of like to sleep in if I can sleep in and get away with it. I don't know, man. I'm
up until 1 in the morning. So
oh my, beyond that.
So I want the East Coast time. I don't want stuff to happen early. And then also, even if you don't regard sports as anything, you wake up 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast. If you're dealing with people that are on East Coast time, it's in the middle of their day. So you have to, if you're doing client work or something, you get up at 9 o'clock and they've already gotten emails for the past 3 hours because people have already been up since your 6 o'clock. It's if you're a night person, you want to live on the East Coast. If you're a morning person, you live on the West Coast. I don't get the morning people, so I don't know what type of people you are. I know people that way. I know people. James McCool tells me he gets up at 5:30 in the morning. How the hell do you do that? Sometimes I don't go to sleep until then.
Yeah, Grant's kind of the same way. He always pops up earlier as well. When I was living with him, I still remember waking up to hearing him do the Turd Bombs video outside my window. I'm like, is that Grant doing a live Turd Bombs? Yep, that's what it was. And this was maybe 10 o'clock. I wasn't really fully sleeping in something crazy. But he wakes up 5, 6 o'clock, and he's in the betting world, and obviously you understand that with props you got to get good lines and sharp lines, and many times if you wake up, if you sleep in, all the good lines are gone, so you got to pounce when when the getting's good. So it makes sense for him to be popping up pretty early. Stan in chat's asking about any showdown NFL slates for RG. Yes, there will be a showdown slate. I want to say 45 minutes before the Pittsburgh-Cleveland game goes down, so 7:30. Let's lock that time in. I think it's 7:30 actually in the chat. Yeah, there you go. Producer Steve's all over it. 7:30 tonight. It'll be on a different stream. This stream obviously yields into the Crunch Time stream, but I'm pretty sure it'll be a different stream that'll be
I got
firing
a
up.
question for you, Dean.
Go ahead.
Do you think there will be more points scored in the football game tonight or in one of the baseball games tonight?
Ooh, I get any game?
But even I'm saying that, and I'm looking at these MLB totals, and they're
No
low.
team has a total of 5.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
the largest total is what, the Yankees 4.35.
It's a rough slate, man. Like we're gonna talk about it. There's a lot of interesting pitching. Hitting is pretty sketch. It's funny. I mentioned this the other day when I was doing the expert survey. I had the call right. I picked the wrong team though. On Thursday, it was I guess it was last Thursday, was it now? Yeah, last Thursday I was like, what was the game? Monday. That's what it was. It was Monday. That's when I write the expert survey. Monday and Wednesdays. And I said the Braves are going to outscore the Titans, and they almost did. I was right about the Titans, thinking they got 7, but the Braves put up like 5, maybe 6. So we almost got there. But if I picked the Marlins, I would have been right. But that's the problem. Yeah, are you watching this game tonight, Cleveland, Pittsburgh? I know Pottsville. I'm sure he's going to be excited about it.
I probably will have it on. It doesn't mean that I'll be watching it.
You got the Amazon, right? I assume you have the Amazon.
Yeah, I could put it on Amazon. I could put that. Who doesn't have Prime?
I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not sure I'm not privy to what you do.
I get toilet paper and deodorant and shampoo. All my staples, all my household supplies. I get on Subscribe and Save on Amazon.
I mean you can get that through like Target or Walmart as well if you want to. But I guess I don't know which way is cheaper, to be honest. But I've done both.
But it's those types of things, Dean, like household supplies are things you always forget from the grocery store. Like I go to the supermarket, obviously it's a little bit more expensive, but like I always forget. It's like, oh, I forgot I was out of shampoo because I'm in the food aisles, not necessarily in the supplies aisles. Oh, we're out of napkins or something, something like that. It's like just put it on Subscribe and Save. And the problem is, Dean, with Subscribe and Save, is that whatever schedule you think you're going to use these things by. Is never exactly what you use them by, and next thing you know, it's like, I have dish soap for the next like 3 years because I put it like one 6-pack every 2 months, but now they're the 12-ounce 6-packs, and next thing you know, I get a new one and I go, wow, I'm up to 3. I have 3 packs that haven't even been opened. It's like maybe I need to go in and cancel this and set a different interval for that to happen.
You're ready for the apocalypse. If it ever comes, you're ready. You're at least for dish soap. I don't know if you have a bunch of ramen soup or ramen noodle like stocked up or whatever.
I get the canned soup. I get the Campbell's. I get like instead of just worrying about I want to have some soup or everything like that. I typically got like a 24-pack.
Yeah,
like every month or something. And then if I don't feel like soup for a while, I get it again, and I'm like, oh yeah, now I have a little too much soup. I got a lot to choose from.
When was the last time they invented a new soup? I don't know who the inventors of soup just stopped. That's it. We hit a quota. No more soup.
There's always different. I mean, technically, everything is a different soup.
There's not been a new this is I'm talking about
not a hot soup. What are you saying? There hasn't been a trendy hot soup.
That's on the board, like a chicken noodle.
But that chicken noodle, that's a boring soup. That's who
I'm just saying a new soup has not been invented in like 20 years.
No, you could get the Campbell's canned soups or whatever. Like they come out with new ones.
Campbell's is not creating new soup. What, tomato soup? What are they? What kind of?
No, they have interesting one. They have hearty beef barley. I get that.
That's a Taco Bell thing. They have extra items. They just got to mix and match.
Yeah, chicken and sausage gumbo. I like that one.
That's not new. That's not groundbreaking.
But it's still better than what? Just like chicken noodle or
you're talking about better than. I'm just saying why is a new brand of soup not been invented? Is all I'm asking.
A brand of soup, or you a progressive person?
Just like a version. I don't know, a style. I just feel like they stopped inventing soup. Whoever's job that is.
Then invent some soups, Dean. You be the one. You be the soup guy.
You know what they did? They stopped inventing soup and they started saying, we need 1,000 Gatorade flavors because there's in our lifetime blender there was like 3 to start. There was orange, there was lemon lime, and then there was fruit punch. And now the Gatorade scientists have completely lost their minds.
It's just food coloring. That's all the difference is.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk to baseball slate in just a second. I did want people to kind of sprinkle in because, people probably weren't aware that we're firing up kind of early. So I imagine it's a late arriving crowd. It's number 6. A lot of people are probably, baseball season. It's kind of war on them. But
maybe they came early for the soup recommendations.
Hey, if the chat has a new soup to recommend, I'm not even like a big soup guy. I just want to go on a little soup rant for no particular reason. Yes, producer Steve in the chat. They have cucumber Gatorade. Like, we've lost our minds with this. What is going on? Who needs that? Cucumber Gatorade? Do you want that?
The only Gatorade I drink is the red, is the fruit punch.
Yeah, but then they're all kind of, like you said, a lot of them are kind of similar. Like there's like 19 different Arctic and Glacier, and it's all the same nonsense, right? Different versions of blue.
Right. And what does it taste any different? It doesn't taste any different to me.
The Folgers test, you're not passing it. It's all the same. It's all basically
no. I can't taste colors. I'm sorry.
All right. Tonight's slate, Blender. You give me the screenshot because we've sort of kind of touched on it already. There's some good pitching. I'm running through the team totals, and like you said, the Yankees, I believe, are the highest at 4.35, which is super, super low. Wow, there's a hot take, a contrarian take. Mr. Richard says Powerade is king. Wow, that's all right. I mean, it's not terrible, but king? Powerade? Blender?
I don't see any difference really between Gatorade and Powerade.
Subtle differences. Fierce lime. There's a fierce lime? Now I just want to run through all the Gatorade flavors that are out there. There's probably a whole bunch I'm not even aware of.
What your mission in life should be, Dean, is to have every day for dinner.
Yeah.
Try to have all the combinations of Campbell's soups and Gatorade. Right. Pair them and figure out which ones pair best. It's like, minestrone goes much more with the blue Gatorade.
How highfalutin you got? I'm not that guy, but like I gotta have. You have the steak. You gotta have the red. Yeah. The cucumber Gatorade it pairs fabulously.
Lobster bisque sounds good for that. Like, why can't you pair the cucumber Gatorade to lobster bisque?
I don't think I've ever had lobster bisque before. It sounds like a fun thing to order, though. I don't believe I've ever tasted it before, lobster bisque.
Or if you're cheap, to do it with the corn chowder. Do the cream.
Oh, I'm out in the chowder. Yeah, I'm out. And however you want to make it, I'm out. It's a deal breaker for me. That's a no-go. It's a no-fly zone for me. Eat New England's. What's the other version? There's like
Manhattan clam chowder in New England.
Yeah, whatever city you want to make it in. I don't want it. You can keep the clam chowder. I'm good. Biggest total on the board, 435. Obviously, people are excited about Aaron Judge potentially tying Roger Maris getting his 61st homer. He hit a double in his very first at bat last night, very first pitch of the game. People are almost like disappointed. It's like, oh, we want a homer. Michael Wacha, certainly somebody you can bang one off of. And the Yankees went nuts last night. I don't know if you played last night in baseball. And my main team did have a Yankee stack, which was nice. Unfortunately, didn't have McKenzie with it, who I had shares of, just not the right combination. Man, when that guy is right, you catch him on the right night. Few people have his ceiling. He's got like 2 or 3, maybe 4 starts this year with at least 11 strikeouts. So the slate tonight, Blender. It's not a lot going on, man. And even I know Dave was writing today, and I read his article. And to summarize him or paraphrase him, he basically said, "I love nothing. There's nothing to love. There's different versions of like, and there's different versions of like, okay, I'll get shares of this." I'll tell you one of my big stands on this slate. Well, let me ask you first. What's your approach? I always like to hear what you have to say because.
Well, I mean, I'm playing 20 lineups into the large field today.
Okay.
Because I haven't been playing MLB DFS this month. I play on days that I'm on a show, right? Because if I'm gonna say things of what I'm doing, I mean, I'm gonna be doing them. So like that's just the way it works out. And then I'll be playing show. I'm focused more on the showdown slate tonight than I am on MLB DFS. But there's the amount of cheap bats that there are on the slate is ridiculous. So like Brandon Woodruff, Woodruff, Bieber, Verlander, like from a raw points perspective, the pitchers aren't that dramatically different, but where else are you spending your money? We have some expensive stacks, but you have to realize these team totals are very low. So like to spend $25,000 on a stack seems counterintuitive from a price perspective, but also some of these pitchers as well. So like don't feel the need to pay up. More people are going to pay up for pitcher than pay up for hitters. Now, obviously, you may have the guys like Jordan Alvarez, Aaron Judge, like as one-offs, Jose Ramirez at third base. There are a lot of batters in the 5K range that are projected to be single-digit owned, and they're real batters. We're talking about Bo Bichette, Mookie Betts, Ronald Acuna, Bryce Harper, Freddie Freeman, Trey Turner, Devers, Riley, Bogart, Swanson, Remuto, Vlad. Like, any of these guys could go for 20 points on an MLB slate, 2 home runs or something like that. I think from a median perspective, you'd much rather spend it up on pitcher, right? But it's like the difference. I have the bat projections up. It's like the highest raw points is Justin Verlander, 10.7K, 21 points. But like Jose Berrios, 16, Keller, 16. I mean, and they're like 5,800 and 6,600. So like the differences between the pitchers aren't that dramatic on their price, but also there's not much to spend up on. So I think more of the field is going to find a way to plug in 2 or 3 cheap guys, because in every stack there's some type of cheapo that you could play, which will lead to much more ownership on guys like Woodruff and Bieber. And I think I'm looking more to find lineups that maybe play one of those guys, or maybe play Hunter Green instead of Woodruff, and then play like Keller or Berrios or Tyon or something like that, and then have 2 or 3 spots that have one of those single digit owned like stud batters that may not be in the greatest matchup, but it's Vlad Guerrero, it's Bryce Harper, it's someone that has a ceiling. I don't want to have 20 lineups and 12 of them have Zach McKinstry in it. But that's what other people are going to do. I don't want that to be my.
I don't want a lot of McKinstry either. And I was messing around. We probably looking at the same stuff. And I'm like, I do not want to get a ton of McKinstry. Don't feel great about that. Obviously, he's leading off and he's cheap, but I don't know how much you need that salary savings. And some of the names that you're throwing out there, like Harper and like Schwarber, it's like, well, I don't want to play anybody in general against Max Fried because he just throws a bunch of ground balls and doesn't yield a lot of homers. And then left on left, I don't want to do that either. But of course, absolutely, like Schwarber can homer off him, Harper can homer off him, or they could just homer off the bullpen. That stuff happens as well too. You've mentioned Vlad a couple times. Like Vlad, not a great ballpark there in Tampa. Yarbrough expected to come in to be the long man, so he's worth picking on. Probably get some, maybe one at bat. Well, definitely one at bat, probably 2, possibly 2. I don't hate Vlad either. You mentioned Bichette. He's just really expensive. He's 6.2K on DK. He's over 4 on FanDuel. So here's my main strategy for the slate tonight. You did mention one of the players, and I think there's good salary savings as far as pitchers, some good step downs. I like the step down of Mitch Keller at 5.8 on DK. I love the step down of Hunter Green at 7.5K. But Hunter Green, and this is kind of what we saw yesterday. And again, yesterday has nothing to do with today, obviously. But just sort of like how it played out. Blake Snell was amazing yesterday. He was awesome yesterday. But I think in another scenario, in another simulation, that Cardinal offense would have smashed him. And my approach here, Blender, is I'm going to be well over on Milwaukee. I'm going to be well over on Hunter Green and just hope for one big, either a really, really good or really, really bad as far as Hunter Green. And like hopefully the median outcome doesn't really show up. I also am allowing myself to have one hitter against Green as well because he came back.
Why are you doing this, Dean? Why are you doing this?
What do you mean?
8-game slate. Don't do that. It's an 8-game slate.
Well, because Hunter Green gives up a ton of home runs and he strikes out a ton of hitters. And you're going to
find home runs from other games? Why do you have to stack up against your pitcher? What are you doing? Stop it.
It's the best ballpark in home runs against one of the better pitchers in home runs.
So who are you going to take as a bat against Hunter Green while playing Hunter Green?
Rowdy.
I knew you were going to say Rowdy.
Well, I'll take Willie Adames.
Why don't you just play another? It's 4,200. Like I'm just going to roll it up on the screen.
What does salary matter?
Just play Josh Naylor instead. Yeah, is that better?
I like him too.
Okay, so then play him instead. So you're
what
not
is
playing
your
batter
issue?
Against your pitcher on an 8-game slate.
So you roster Hunter Green and you think, well, he's got to throw a complete game shutout, otherwise he's worthless.
No, they're negatively correlated, and there's enough of the opportunity.
I don't care about that. It's incremental because again, you have to understand the context of what Hunter Green does. He strikes people out and he gives up home runs, and he's pitching in Cincinnati, a ballpark that yields a bunch of home runs.
But the better Hunter Green does, the worse Kellis does.
It's a very specific scenario.
Fine. Thank you for contributing. Thank you for lowering the EV of your lineups. I appreciate it. I'm playing it. Are you playing the large field $18 contest?
I'm in it. Yeah, I hate that.
Okay, good. Thank you. My lineups have already. I haven't built my lineups, and my lineups have already gotten better. Thanks.
I played 60 lineups on FanDuel, the $10 buy-in, where So and I set it where I'm allowed one hitter per. But again,
just play Christian Walker.
He's fine too, but
Alec Boehm, Ryan Mack. I'm just trying to find a $4,200 first page. Just fill someone else in. What are you doing?
I respect correlation. I understand correlation is a thing. To sit there and pretend like Hunter Green it can't be in the winning lineup with one of these Milwaukee guys.
I didn't say can't. I never say can't and won't and always and everything. But the chances are lower together.
Oh my God. I didn't even want to win today, but now I really want to win because I want to stick this right in your face. Pull a little, how do you like the
but I see, Dean, you had to say that, right? The first thing that you said, I agree with completely. I mean, it's a point that I would have brought up.
Which is?
I think the Hunter Green Milwaukee situation is the highest variance situation matchup on the entire slate.
You're
Green can come out and strike out 10 guys, but Milwaukee could also get 10 runs. So I'm like you. I'm going to probably be building a bunch of Green lineups and still have a bunch of Brewer stats. The only difference, they're not going to be in the same lineup.
Okay, you think Hunter Green's going to throw a complete game shutout and strike out 27 guys?
If let's say Rowdy Tellez does hit a home run. Okay, let's say he does. But let's say Josh Taylor also hits a home run. Like, why don't you just get a home run from another first baseman?
Well, it doesn't work. You can't just order it like you're ordering a lobster.
It's a probability, Dean. It's a probability, Dean. Any home run that Tellez hits off a Green lowers the Green's points. So why would you want to have him in the same lineup?
Because I don't need 70 points at Hunter Green. And
for an $18 large field GPP, yeah, you don't want to have negative correlation. What are you doing?
We're going to bring I'm sure they're going to side with you, but I'm curious.
Of course they're going to side with me. Everyone will.
And also, you're talking large field nonsense. Where you need
but that's what you just said. You're entering the $18 large field DK GPP.
A little bit. Like, I have like 4 entries in that. Like,
are you playing like a 20-man contest? Then do whatever you want. Fine.
The DK,
you want to play,
I was late signing up for DK contest today. I'm in the home plate. I'm in the skipper. I'm barely playing on DK is the point.
If you're playing cash games, fine. I'm
not playing cash.
Who cares?
Well, now you're advocating playing Hunter Green. Well, I get
cash games. You could do that because you don't care about ceiling. You care about median. And if both players' medians are good, then who cares if one guy gets up a little bit? You don't need 40 points from Green and 30 points from Tellez in cash. Right? You get 25 from Green and 12 from Tellez, and you're fine. So in cash games, for free, okay, who cares?
But again, your premise is based upon all scenarios. And what I'm saying is that Hunter Green, a dude who gives up 1.9 homers per 9, more than anybody else in the slate, a dude that strikes out 30% of batters, which is it the highest in the slate? It's right there as far as the highest in the slate. Basically the highest in the slate. Sure, why not? I'm saying that's a very specific example, which is it's an outlier, right? So your premise is correct. I understand what you're saying, but to look at the context of the matchup, understand that Green gets an inordinate amount of strikeouts and he yields an inordinate amount of home runs. So I think it's okay. And Milwaukee has a lot of power and they strike out a lot. So in this very specific example, it's okay to say, you know what? I know this is not what you're supposed to do. And the math guys are going to yell at me, and also this is kind of a differentiator too, Blender, because of people like you and everybody else that's putting in 1,000 lineups or how many lineups you're putting in. If you're all doing that,
we're going to put in good lineups, unlike you. That's the point. That's the difference. You know what I hope happens, Dean? You know what I really hope happens? I want Hunter Green.
Yeah.
To pitch to get 14 strikeouts.
Yeah.
And give up 3 home runs.
Yeah.
But they're Colton Wong, Jace Peterson, and Omar Narvaez. And
I got those guys.
5. I want Tellez to go 0 for 5.
Pieces. I'm not locking in Rowdy Tellez, and on Fanduel he's like 2.7, so he's gonna be popular play. And if you're playing cash games and you land on Hunter Green as your cash pitcher, you probably shouldn't. By the way, you probably should be playing Woodruff as your cash pitcher. I think so. I'm not playing cash for the record, but in theory, I'm pretty sure that's who I would land on. I could make it work on Fanduel. It's not very hard. But, yeah, man, I'm okay. There's a certain set of rules, and you have to understand the rules to be willing to break them. And I'm willing to break the rule in this very specific. Will you at least concede that this is a specific instance that's kind of an outlier?
No, not on an 8-game slate. No.
Oh, my gosh.
If you were talking about a 3-game slate, I wouldn't be putting up a fight. I'd be like, okay, I wouldn't do it.
Like 4 games don't matter. That might not matter.
It's the opportunity cost, Dean. You have 16 teams on the slate. Why not just pick a guy from one of the other teams that isn't negatively correlated to your pitcher?
And the chat says, can we please set up a head-to-head between you guys? That wouldn't solve anything. This is not a head-to-head conversation, unfortunately.
No, the weird thing is that a head-to-head, I'd block you. I'd play green and tell us together just to just say, okay, I don't have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah, there's no settling it with a head-to-head because it's a broad conversation. By the way, I did see somebody in chat. I didn't want to miss it. Jake, congratulations to Jake. Took down the 25K mini max on DK with McKenzie and Lyles with Yankees and Royals. And I'm sure he won off somebody against Lyles to the homer. I don't know. Probably not. But I wouldn't do it in that instance, obviously. I'm making
that instance, you never do it.
I'm making an exception to the rule. It's okay to skew from the rules. That's all I'm saying.
Why don't you play pinch hitters then? Why don't you just play someone off the bench?
Now you're just being absurd.
Well, see, I'm saying the same stuff that you would say.
Why would I play a pinch hitter?
Maybe Hunter. Why don't you play a 3-man stack against him because he gives up so many home runs? Why don't you play a 5-man stack against him in the same lineup?
I mean, you've seen it before. I know you're making a mockery of what I'm saying.
Just because you've seen it doesn't mean it's likely. Doesn't mean it makes it positive expected value.
How many times have you seen winning GPP lineups for baseball and you look at it and then like, oh my God, this is absurd.
And I'm glad that they continue. I'm glad that they are the ones that got the $25,000 because they're going to be donating it all back. So yeah, thank you. I have no problem losing the bad lineups because then the people getting the money. So it's like in poker, someone gets lucky or whatever, calls a bet for a one outer and hits it. I would rather that person get the money than me make a mistake and have the good player get the money. No, bad lineups win all the time. Just because it can win doesn't mean over the course of time it's going to be not profitable to do so. Yeah, every once in a while. Yeah, sure, of course. I love when those lineups win. Showdown, whenever the 184-way train wins a showdown, I'm happy, even though I lost most of my money. I'll never make those. Those are unprofitable lineups. So it's when those solo lineups or 2-way lineups win. It's like, I was one spot off, and I just didn't have that exact combination. Although all my lineups were like under 5s or whatever, like that. Then it's like, some sharp person won. I'm never going to see that money again, right? So, Dean, if you win with your Teller's green lineup in the large field GPP, I'm looking forward to seeing that money come back to me at some point.
You know, I can only hope to be so lucky to get that negative correlation to fall my way. But when you play poker,
it's less likely. I didn't say it can't happen. I'm just saying it's less likely. That's it. You have other choices. If you told me, Dean, if there was a nuclear disaster or something like that, and they somehow continued the slate and said all the first basemen, maybe it's a disease, it's a pandemic, a one-day pandemic, there's a virus that goes around and literally kills all first base eligible players.
Okay.
Except for Rowdy Tellez, it's like, well, then now Rowdy Tellez is optimal. He's the only person you could actually put in your first base spot.
It's kind of an implausible scenario, but I'll run
right.
with it.
Then I'd say then fine. Then you still want to play Hunter Green. I'd still, you know what I'd say, Dean? I'd say there are 16 pitchers on the slate, so why don't you just select another pitcher instead of doing that? But at least then maybe then I'd be like, okay, fine. You could play the only first base eligible player in your first base spot. He's going to be 100% owned, but less people are playing because he's 100% owned. Less people are playing Hunter Green, so maybe you get some leverage that way. But that's the only case.
Who you're playing?
You have to go and assassinate all the other first basemen for your lineup to be plus even.
Like Reggie Jackson from the Naked Gun. Does anybody get the Reggie? You've seen the Naked Gun before, right? I assume. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. You know, he's got the "I must kill the queen." You're aware of what I'm talking about? Yes.
What, he tried to assassinate the queen? Yes, I know the movie.
Okay, all right. That's you kind of referenced. Okay, I was just running with your with your scenario. The Mariners and the Angels. Check it out, kids. Naked Gun. It's a classic. Leslie Nielsen. He's the man. Is that the best Leslie Nielsen movie, or is it Airplane? Which one is it?
Now, Police Squad.
That was a TV show.
Yeah, but I still consider it better.
It was like 6 episodes and it was canceled.
Yeah, but I mean, Police Squad is the origination of all those types of movies.
So let me ask you this: who are you playing in your green lineups?
Not Milwaukee.
No, but tell me, are you playing Pirates?
Well, it depends. I mean, I ran lineups just before. I mean, I have it on my screen. I'll switch over to my lineup screen. With using the bat projections, this is not caring about ownership. The stacks that come up the most as a 5-man stack: Milwaukee.
Wait,
both sides of the Chicago-Pittsburgh game, but I'll explain the context of this. The Yankees, then the Guardians, then the Astros. But the reason why the Cubs and the Pirates come up a lot is take a look at this. Take a look at these lineups. Right? We're gonna go here for the Cubs. Like everyone in this lineup, outside of what Happ and Morel batting ninth, is under 3K. And then you look at the Pittsburgh lineup, and you got Cruz and Reynolds that are over 4K. You got Collins that's 3,200, but almost everyone else is under 3K. So, like, if you're building, we go back here. If you're building Woodruff Verlander lineups, right? If you're building stuff like that, Woodruff Verlander, Gomes, McKinstry, Bote, Reyes, Happ, and then you still play Judge as a one-off. O'Neal Cruz at shortstop, which is a weak position today.
He's
like this is where all those lineups are.
Yeah,
so to me,
you can have all your Pirates and your Cubs and in your green stacks. I'll take a Brewer instead of almost every single one of those guys. Feel free to throw David Bote at me.
but that's the reason. It's like to pay up at two pitchers. There's so much cheap value, if you want to call it value, on the slate.
Yeah,
that's why they're coming. It's not that the Cubs and the Pirates are like great projected play. They're great projected plays for their price, for their median for a $2,500 average salary. So you could pay up for pitchers that only have like a 3-point difference between all the other pitchers. So if you were going to look, like if I take a look at the Keller lineups, for instance, right? Because I don't get that much of Keller, right? 21%. I don't get much of the cheap pitchers because, like, median-wise, you'd rather just pay down at the bats, but that's what other people are going to do. So we take a look at these Keller lineups, right? It has Milwaukee, like and they're mid-price, 4,000, 4,400. Aaron Judge as a one-off. Like, I would avoid these, like, Aaron Judge, Jordan Alvarez one-off type lineups. Right? And I'm much more likely to just try to get to the more expensive stacks that are not good from a median perspective. But definitely, it's the Blue Jays. Why not? They have a ceiling, right? I mean, like, any team could go off. They score 7-8 runs. Like, you'd rather have that, even if you overpaid for them, than just go with the common construction is going to be pay up twice a pitcher, and then there's plenty of stacks with cheap bats.
I'm taking a look at the ownership right now. I have the BatX ownership projection. Let me switch to the Plate IQ ownership projection on DK right now. And Woodruff's overwhelming as far as his number, 47%, got a roster 2, 9.2K. The Reds are terrible. The ballpark's bad, but, the Reds are bad too. They're worse. Bieber at 26%, Fried at 24%. Pretty good price for Fried, 8.3K, but he's not a great K guy, but a great run prevention guy. Not a great matchup, not a great ballpark. Verlander, 85 pitches, maybe 90 pitches or so. We saw last time he came out. I believe he was throwing a perfect game or a no-hitter. Didn't want to push him. Astros have nothing to play for. He was just coming back from injury, but he should throw more pitches this start. Baltimore, good ballpark to pitch in these days. Urias, same deal, right? Like Dodgers cruising in. We know how they're going as far as pumping the brakes a bit as far as their arms. Do you agree with this ownership? I think Green at 14% seems a little bit low at 7.5K. He just came back from injury. The Reds have nothing to play for, but they still let him go last game. He was electric, throwing 101, triple digits, striking out, I believe, 11. That is his upside. But again, he serves up homers too. He has in the past plenty. He's going to be really good. He's not quite a finished product, obviously. Man, that's...
He won't be 14. Maybe he'll be 20.
That's
the
what
problem,
I think.
Like I mentioned before, is that it's so easy to get raw points at pitcher because a lot of batters are cheap. So a lot of that ownership is going to be Woodruff Bieber lineups, Woodruff Verlander lineups, a little Fried in there. So like even going down to 7,500, like a lot. I'm telling what a lot of people are going to do. Not me necessarily, but a lot of other people will be building those high median lineups that pay up at pitcher. But we're not looking for median when it comes to large field GPP. I'm looking for ceiling. So it's like I'm much more likely to pay up. Yeah, if you told me, like, we go to the shortstop position, right? We take a look at, like, just sort by fantasy points. Just sort by, like, point per dollar. Like, Bo Bichette doesn't even, like, come up here. Like, where Bo Bichette is what? 6,200 at shortstop, and he projects 8 median. Like, dude, Yelich
$40
not
not a thing with hitters, though. You know that. I mean, I I understand what you're saying, but the people really look at point per dollar. You can't keep the salary, and you can only do so well with projecting. Like, what is he projected for? 8 points or something like that? Like,
right, but I'm saying, but that's his median. So, like, to say that, like, oh, I don't want to overpay for Bo Bichette. It's like, well, what are the chances that Bo Bichette versus Aaron Judge, that's going to be like 8 times more owned? That who says Bo Bichette in his distribution? Maybe Bo Bichette gets 22 points and Judge gets a single and a run and he's 5 points. Like, it's baseball. So, like, even though the medians are different, I mean, these ranges of outcomes are very wide.
why are
so
you comparing
much
a
more
shortstop to
likely
an
that
outfielder?
what?
You're comparing a shortstop to an outfielder.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, if you don't pay up for an outfield, like you're paying up at shortstop instead of paying down at shortstop.
Yeah.
Right. So you're still comparing it as in the same price range. Just that if you build by median, you're going to get a lot of paying up at two for two pitchers, and Aaron Judge is a one-off. And I don't mind sacrificing 3 or 4 median points to remove like half the ownership of my lineup, especially because it's baseball and 4 points. Dude, one swing of a bat is more than 4 points on average. So like what are we doing here? I'll pay up to be different. I have no problem having lower median lineups that are significantly different as long as I'm playing good players. Like, that's really the key. We'll get into basketball next month, but it's one of the things that I do in football. Same thing. Play good players. Don't try to find the $2,300 guy that's like, who knows what's going to happen. It's like, dude, there's so many players on this slate. If I just sort by salary, like, why can't you play Ronald Acuna against Ranger Suarez? It's not yet nowhere near as good as playing Aaron Judge. Absolutely, from a median perspective. But ceiling wise, I mean, who says that? I mean, like, all these are real batters. I'm not saying to go all the way down to the bottom. It's like, okay, what guy do I want to play? Let me find a way to plug in Gunnar Henderson versus Justin Verlander. It's like, no, we're talking about real people here.
Well, Gunnar Henderson, by the way, is a legit prospect. Like, he's not a nobody, just for the record.
Right, but I'm saying it's compared to Mookie Betts.
Well, yeah.
Right? I mean, we're talking, that's what I'm talking. I'm talking an all-star caliber player versus just someone you want to take a flyer on. It's like, we have tons of these guys on this slate. Look, Xander Bogaerts, 5,300 is what, 3% owned? Austin Riley, 50. Like, all these guys in this 5K range, they're overpriced for their median, but they're priced fine for their ceilings, and people aren't going to be playing them because they're paying up a pitcher and paying up for Aaron Judge.
On that point, by the way, if we're correct with his ownership, at least close enough, we have Adames 4.7K at 23% owned on DK, which that's a really big number. And you ask the same questions, like Adames at 23% or Bichette at 5%. I understand Bichette's more. Swanson is 5.2K, $500 more. I understand he's more. But we're talking about 20%, 25% of the ownership. And you mentioned Bogaerts as well. A little bit more money, but so maybe if that's correct, Adames shouldn't be that heavily owned. It's probably not the best way to go outside of, Green gives a lot of homers and Milwaukee's a fun stack and, great ballpark.
Yeah, but Milwaukee will be one of the most, I think Milwaukee will be the highest owned stack on the slate.
So they're going to be overowned.
Yes, I think Milwaukee's going to be overowned. I think the Yankees are going to be overowned.
Well, that's the problem is like, and this is like you don't really like anything else. You don't like, there's nothing you say, well, I love this. You like the possibility of, but there's nothing on paper. You can't really break down the stats and tell me why, the Pirates or the Cubs are in like an incredible spot to thrive.
Now, none of these teams, look at the totals. No one's in a good spot. I mean, it's similar to cheese. It's like, there's nothing here to love at all. All I love, since I'm playing GPP, is to not play what other people are playing. So, like, I can't even describe what to do other than let me figure out what other people are going to do and just not do that. Do anything other than that. So I need to find ways to do anything other than that. And I think the best way is to find good players and play as many of them as possible, regardless if you think they're overpriced. Because at pitcher, like, imagine paying down for Berrios and Keller. Like, dude, you could spend up for all the batters you want. Yes, you're overpaying for median, but you're not playing a lineup that many other people are playing. So why not pay up for a Toronto stack? Don't play an Astro stack with Jordan and then play Vlad and Bichette, and like your lineup is like you're overpaying for the batters. But these are at least good batters. You're not overpaying for no ones.
On DK, if you play Keller and Green, you got almost 4-6 per stick. So, I mean, it's not a flat out pick 'em, but it's kind of close, right? You basically can play whatever you want, right? More or less. You need maybe one cheap batter, like a couple guys that are 3K or something like that, and you're on your way. Do you have some of your lineups? You made your 20 lineups already?
No.
Oh, okay.
Still got to wait for the Dodgers lineup to come in. I mean, we have crunch time after this. I got a half an hour.
Yeah, crunch time's coming in about 25 minutes or so. They're going to go around the horn and give their favorite plays position by position. They're happy to do that. Any questions you have there in chat, by all means, fire away while you're hanging out. So kindly hit that like button, do subscribe, turn on those notifications. So we appreciate that to keep the lights on. Do want to mention Scores and Odds. ScoresandOdds.com. It's your number one place for all things sports betting. Get ready for the NFL season. Well, we're ready for it. We're in the NFL season. Arm yourself with the best tools and analysis. Check it out for everything you need to make yourself a better sports bettor, including the brand new Parlay IQ tool. I believe that is still free. I believe it's in beta and it's free to use. And it also works with the Fanduel Sportsbook integration. Build yourself optimized same game parlays based on data of thousands of simulations. It's done really, really quickly within a click of a button. And it will take you right to Fanduel Sportsbook to help you get that bet in. And also you can jump around and see, you can price shop and see where the best bets happen to be. And if you can get better lines elsewhere, by all means, go for that. Feel free to check out, again, the Parlay IQ tool on scoresandodds.com. You don't have what's up?
I use Scores and Odds.
I was going to ask if you have sports betting in Kentucky. You don't, correct?
No, I do Prize Picks and Underdog.
How close are you to a border that's useful?
Oh, Indiana, right over the river.
Did you ever take the drive or no?
No, why?
Well, maybe you like a line. I don't know. Maybe you like.
I couldn't get enough money even if I ever did anything, I would need to get an office. There's a whole to make it worthwhile. I'll have to get accounts and do all. I'm not interested in that. There's enough bad stuff that they post on Prize Picks and Underdog.
Yeah.
That I mean, like, dude, I already got my NFL stuff in like 36 hours ago, and this is the first time I'm doing NFL. So I've been doing MLB, and MLB, it's easy. Like MLB is just you wait until 1 a.m, wait for the Prize Picks board to come up.
Soft lines sometimes,
right? You're gonna probably find 3 or 4 lines that are much more than minus 137 off. You hammer those, and when you wake up in the morning, they moved in your favor. So like I got Keller over on Prize Picks. I got it at 4.5. So like, good luck getting it it's at 5.5 now. Don't bother with it. Don't go there and get Keller 5.5. That's not good anymore, right? 4.5 was awesome, right? And I got Keller. Who else did I get? I got Keller. Perez pushed at 5Ks. Bradish over 3.5. And I also have the Wisniewski was at 5.
Now it's 4.5 now, minus 116, and it's 5.5 as far as Keller at minus 113.
Yeah, but now it doesn't mean anything, right?
You got to be early.
NFL, like the NFL ones that I have, it's almost absurd the numbers that I've gotten. I mean, it's almost some of the numbers now have moved 25 yards in my favor. It's just ridiculous. I got
what's the most egregious one?
I got Tyreek Hill under 87.5. It's now down to 73. Waddle, I got it under 77.5. That's down to 63.
Wow.
I got and this was a day and a half ago. I got who else is here? Fournette on Underdog was 60. They posted at 64.5, and it was up for 24 hours. It's now up to 70. Aaron Jones was at 59.5. Now it's down to 50. I got that under at 59.5. Javonte Williams, Prize Picks, was at 60.5. It's now down to I think 53.5. Mark Andrews, I did under 65.5. That's down to I think 59. Mac Jones over 215 passing yards. That's already up to 240.
Wow.
Right? I mean,
I got under 240 for the record.
I got Tua
Yeah.
on underdog. I got it under 283 passing yards.
So they overly inflated Miami is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, they overinflated Miami, and then now everything's fine. Now everything anything that I just said, don't do, because the lines are official. Now the value's gone. So that's the key to that. You could use scores and odds to check out, lines and compare them against Prize Picks and Underdog or whatever. You could use the Blitz projections, right? The NFL projections that Carty has for the Blitz. And dude, you should have been doing this yesterday already. Like by the time you get to it.
Yeah, they're very helpful as far as and like it's posted pretty early the next day for the bat. Like I would look ahead and to see if there's any sort of anomalies, and I assume you're using the bat as well for the baseball stuff you're talking about.
Yeah. One of the last night they posted that the board was posted like maybe 10 to 1 a.m., like 12:50 a.m. And I just have the bat. I just have the bats tomorrow projections up.
Yeah.
I look and I saw Keller a 4.5, and I looked on the bat and it was like 5.75. So I'm like, yeah, let me find another pair. And then I saw Perez at like almost 6, and he was at 5. And then I saw Bradish at like 4.8, and he was at 3.5. So it's like all I need to do is find a couple of them. Werenski was too high at 5. He was in the bat. He was like 4.02. So I just make those pairs, and it's like here, $100 there, $100 here, $100 there. There you go. I round robin them all together. I just do 2 picks, so I get as many as possible. And there you go. There's like $1,000, $1,500 worth of whatever, and the closing line value is tremendous. And it's just like that's how I've made over $10,000 just doing that. Like
just grinding away, man.
Right, not like $1,000 bets. I'm talking about anywhere from $10 to 50 to 100, depending on how long the line is off. But like I did that with NFL. Like I think between Prize Picks and Underdog, I have like $6,000 out.
Are you doing?
I mean, it's on like maybe 28 different props, but like most of them, more than half of the ones that I have have moved already. Like more than half of the 28, I think more than 14 have moved in my favor, and that's all I could ask for.
The round robins, are you doing it like by 2s, 3s, 4s, and 5s all get to 5 or no?
No, just 2s, only 2s.
Just 2 away. Okay.
Right. I have a lot. Like understand that my NFL like props on Underdog and Prize Picks, I have like 500 tickets.
Yeah.
Right, because I'm like
you do it by hand too, right? You can't do like a CVR, right? I don't think so.
You mean a CSV? Yeah, you can't upload it. You have to do everything manually. So like last night on baseball, I'd look at I'd write them down. I mean, I have them right here. I just write them on a sheet of paper. It's right here. I see them. I could quickly write this down in a matter of like 60 seconds as I compare the two. And then I start from the top and I go, okay, Perez over 5, Wisniewski under 5, $25. Enter. Perez over 5, Keller over 4.5, $25. Enter. And I just basically make Perez with all the other, pairs of like 7 other props. And then I move to the next one. I do Wisniewski with the others. And then you just go all the way down. And next thing you know, you have like 70 tickets. All of, and obviously the more that the line is off, the more I'm willing to put down, right? The ones that aren't off as much, maybe it's like $10. Maybe some are $50. And then that's you do. You run them all down. I could do that. I did that all last night in probably 8 minutes total, going through, doing all that. And then a lot of times, sometimes it moves while you're doing it. Sometimes you're like, damn, I couldn't get them all in. But most of the time I'll wake up in the morning and more than half of them or more have moved in my favor, and I don't have to do anything more. I'm not looking at them throughout the day. If they haven't moved, like they probably weren't that great to begin with. So like I'm not betting on Prize Picks when I wake up. The Underdog stuff comes up early in the morning, like in the morning, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Then I'll look at compare the Prize Picks ones to Underdog and see if there's enough of a discrepancy. And a lot of times Underdog will have a half a strikeout or a strikeout discrepancy in the wrong direction. And then I hammer those, right? And I pair those together. A lot of times their hitter ones are off a little too much. So I hammer those in the morning. And by the time it's 5:30, like by time now, there's nothing available. Like there's nothing that you could ask me to say.
Nothing you feel great about. I just want to mention that if you're interested in this kind of content, Carty does a Blitz show with Keith. And I haven't. They actually had to move the day because they were supposed to be on yesterday, but apparently the lines don't come out quick enough, or they didn't have enough to work with. But apparently they're moving the needle as the show progresses. As people are watching, they're basically saying this is what we have, and the lines are moving in real time. And of course, Britt and Will, Chief Justice, they have a show. I want to say Monday or Tuesday nights. This is one of the reasons why you subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications if you're interested in such things. But as Blender said, like by the time Sunday rolls around, the NFL stuff's probably going to be few and far between as far as the best lines. They're all too sharp.
Dean, the only time that the stuff is going to be worthwhile is if news comes out. Like MLB, if a pitcher got scratched or a hitter. Oh, Trout and Ohtani and Ward are not in the Angels lineup, so it's like, okay, well that does something that may change some pitching props. And in the NFL, it would be in like an injury situation. Like for instance, I don't know where it is now. I got a whole bunch down on Noah Brown under 52.5 with the expectation that Gallup is going to play.
Yeah.
And if Gallup plays, Noah Brown's prop should not be 52.5.
Correct. Right.
But that's the type of thing that may be up currently. Like I could probably check right now. I know it's a baseball show, but we talk strategy and stuff. This is information you could use at any time.
Did I see Dalton Schultz was banged up? I don't know how serious it was, but I saw he might have been banged up.
Yeah, Noah Brown's still up at 52.5. Now, if Gallup doesn't play, that's a fine number. But if Gallup, it looks like he's full practice today. So it's like, I don't mind taking the risk because like if Gallup plays and he plays 70 snaps is what the reports are, maybe he'll play. Like, dude, this prop should be like 26. Like it should be like half of this. So like if I could get that big of a jump, or like Pittman, for instance. Pittman's another one. He's like limited. Like his projection in the blitz is 86 if he's fully healthy. So like if you think that he's going to be fully healthy, this 61.5 over is great. The problem is that when that news comes out, that like unless you're like within like 10 minutes of that news, like this number is going to move to like 76.5, no problem, or something like that. So if you want to take the risk, you could do it really early. Obviously, if he doesn't play, you just get a DNP and you don't have to worry about it. But like that's what I'm looking for with a lot of this stuff.
I assume he plays after the disaster the Colts laid last week, and if he plays, I think he just plays full out. I assume they don't just kind of baby him, but those are just my assumptions.
But the same thing happens in baseball with pitch counts, right? A lot of times these lines are off. Like there was one line, 2 days ago, where the sites had like both Prize Picks and Underdog had someone it was McClanahan the other day. They posted like a 6.5 for McClanahan K's when it was like known that he's only going to pitch like 75 pitches. So it's like they had his pitch count at like 93 or something. And I just hammered the hell out of the under. Like it opened at like 6.5 and it closed at 5. And it's like, well, if you waited till the morning for that, you couldn't get it at that number. But it's like those types of things you could take advantage of.
Did you? I might have misheard if you said something. Do they still have you can bet pitch counts, unders on pitch counts, and that you're talking about as far as McClanahan?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's still a thing. I haven't played on Prize Picks in a bit, so
typically Underdog has them more. Some the Prize Picks does that. Prize Picks is smart. Typically, the ones that have more variant pitch counts, they don't even post.
Okay.
Right, but like McClanahan on that day didn't have a pitch count posted on Prize Picks, but Underdog they almost always post pitch counts, and they had him at like 93.5. And I'm like, let me find another one that's off. And once I do, just start hammering McClanahan under, and because the K's are unders also because they expect for some reason they expect him to pitch 93.
I thought he got hurt. I thought he got hurt for some reason. That was on a slate that was not a main slate.
He got hurt. No, he got hurt before, and then they said the next. I mean, they literally reported that he wasn't expected to pitch more than 70 to 80 pitches.
Okay.
So that's why when I looked at it, I said, "Did I miss the report? Did I read this wrong?" And then when I looked it up, I'm like, "No." Like unless they're lying, this number is way too high. So and then he pitched what? He pitched like 4 innings or something.
We're here for the next 10-ish minutes or so. We yielded a crunch time crew. You got DerekCarty, you got Dave Potts, you got Chief Mineralogist Kevin Roth. Whatever you guys want us to talk about in the chat, by all means, throw it out there. What are you going to be well over the field on? What are you going to be well under the field on? Let's touch on pitchers first. I know You've already kind of talked about it, but we have people sprinkling in and out. I imagine some people didn't catch us at the front end of the show. The pitchers that you're going to be over the field on are who and why?
Probably Keller, Berrios, Tyon. Tyon may not. I mean, I'll have some probably. I only played 20 lineups, so maybe I end up with 1 or 2 Tyon lineups. But Keller and Berrios, definitely. My strategy this slate is to pay down for one pitcher and then overpay for some type of stack and batters that aren't going to be as owned.
What about hitters? What about stacks? Who are the stacks you're honing in on?
I mean, the expensive ones. I mean, like if we just go through, I'm going to switch over. Like I said, I haven't run my own lineup slot.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna avoid the Cubs and the Pirates. Let's say like the Blue Jays. They're an overpriced stack, right? In Tampa.
You're embracing that.
I'm embracing that. Why not? Let's see. Tampa Bay against Berrios at the Astros. There's another one. The Astros. Bregman, Tucker, Vasquez. They're not, it's absurdly expensive. You still got Diaz in there and Pena, Mancini.
Mr. Richard wants to know about Cleveland. J-Ram, obviously, really, really solid. I like Naylor as well. I don't know how you feel about a full Cleveland stack. You tell me. What are your thoughts as far
Cleveland's
as
fine. Cleveland's mid-priced. I'm fine with Cleveland. I can see getting Cleveland. I could see getting to the Phillies. Like I said, you're overpaying. The Braves. Like, I'm just looking to overpay. I'm basically looking to overpay. The Dodgers.
That's the only lineup we don't have just yet, by the way, for the record. No Dodger lineup. You're probably going to get some, like, one key piece missing every single day, basically coming down to the stretch. We saw there without several. Well, they're lefties. They were facing a lefty yesterday. Maybe you probably get Muncy back. You probably get Gallo back in the lineup. Probably get Will Smith as well. I don't believe he played last night. But, like, I don't know how much I like the Dodgers anyway. Like, Zach Gallen's legit. He's really good. Ballparks, whatever. They're fine, but I'm not going out of my way. I'm not falling over myself to play Dodgers. Are you?
They have the second highest team total, Dean.
Yeah, but it's all relative. All the team totals stink.
So, you know what I'm going to do, Dean?
Yeah. I'm
going to play Freddie Freeman.
Yeah.
First baseman thought, and I'll play Zach Gallen against.
That's a brilliant thought. I didn't never cross. I wouldn't do that. I would never recommend that. The books,
right? Or play Julio Urias with Christian Walker. Why? According to Dean, the Dean's word of wisdom is you always pair your first baseman with the opposing pitcher.
You know, you're just twisting. You're twisting what I said, and I stand by what I said. For the record, I think it's an outlier. I think it's an anomaly, and I think you can do it. By the way, we kind of touched over Keller. Like, he just seems, you know, especially as an SP2, I think he's playable on FanDuel. I don't hate him on FanDuel. I have him in my pool. But 5'8" really opens things up for if you want to overspend on some hitters. And he's been, you know, big-time prospect, finally starting to get there. He's been good in his last, 3 or 4 starts or so. And this, you know, good ballpark to pitch in. This Cubs lineup is really bad. Not a lot of major leaguers in that lineup. I mean, they're wearing major league uniforms, so good for them. But tons of strikeouts, not a lot of power. I know Reyes, in theory, should have some power, just hasn't really been there this year. But 27.2% as far as strikeouts collectively. Only one guy, Yan Gomes, that doesn't really strike out in the entire lineup. I'm just checking out Keller the last month of this, you know, the last 30 days on Plate IQ, and 24.6%. Seen a spike as far as the strikeouts. Of course, the walks have been a little uneasy at 9.3%, but this is also a Chicago lineup that doesn't walk. One guy, Rivas, is the only guy that's willing to take a walk. Otherwise, you know, Yan Gomes in the last 30 days, 0 walks. Bodie, 0 walks. 6% collectively. They're anxious. They're not hitting the ball well. It's not a good lineup for Chicago. So I'm going to have a good bit of Keller. It's usually not good famous last words, but here we are. Chat 69's joining us. What's up, Chat 69? Like Blender, I don't like Pittsburgh or Chicago. We got a question in chat, Blender. Woodruff, or is this? I don't know if this is for tournaments, if this is for cash. Woodruff, Friedel, and Fraley. I don't like Friedel. Friedel and Fraley sounds like a law firm. Or Hunter Green, Tellez, and Adames. Well, wait a second. Am I kidding? Is this
Dean, we already know your answer. It's GPP. You got to pair your pitcher in your first baseman.
No. Well, no. I think I'm getting trolled because it's a pitcher against 2 hitters and a pitcher against 2 hitters. Well played there, Nitram. Nice enough. Yeah, they're both too good. And of course, my answer is Hunter Green, Tellez, and Adamas. I know what you did there. Well done. I will read anything. I'm Ron Burgundy. Hi, San Diego.
If anything, the first one I think is more contrarian.
Yeah, I mean, but like,
if I had to choose between the two, I'd choose the Friedel Fraley lineup because they're going to be lower owned than Tellez and Adamas.
First of all, and Blender, I can't believe I'm throwing your words back at you. It's lineups. It's not players. Nobody's playing a Hunter Green, Rowdy Tellez, Willie Adamas lineup, but me, maybe.
Yeah, but no one's playing other lineups that also don't have the pitcher. Like, you could find the same ownership with people that aren't against your starting pitch.
Lineups, not players. That's all I'm saying. Is your course just? I want like 6 hours of that just being said over and over again. Yeah.
Oh, did you listen to it?
I haven't. I would, but I haven't.
Okay.
I'm sure. Like, I'm not.
You could get yourself a free one. I'll give you a free one.
I don't pretend to be like somebody that's a big know-it-all. I'm always willing to learn, and I'm always willing to listen, and I'm happy to not be the smartest guy in the room. You know what I mean? I'm okay with all that. So I'm absolutely happy to listen. And I've said this before. Like, you have your voice is very welcome in this field. It's needed because a lot of people come from a very similar perspective, and it's important to stress the things you are stressing as well. And people don't understand it. It's like, well, wait a second. You're saying that's terrible, and yet you want it. But like, you got to win like 3% of the time or whatever it is, and you're still ahead. What do you win when you win, right?
Right.
But yeah, so I haven't listened to it, but I would encourage.
I will give you a free. I'll even in the private chat. There's the promo code.
Yeah.
There you go. Use that promo code. Don't tell anyone else it. You get it for nothing. And this is for the Theory of Daily Fantasy Sports for Advanced Players. It's a 10-chapter audio course, and it comes with Excel tools for you to use.
I got to learn Excel, too. Like, it's another one of my holes.
You don't have to learn anything. It's cutting and pasting. It doesn't trust me. It doesn't.
It's something I've been meaning to do. It's if I'm going to start playing more lineups.
You don't need to. No, you could do this even if you only are going to play one lineup.
Oh, yeah, I know. But I'm just saying, as far as like, especially for basketball season, when basketball season comes around, I hand edit everything, and it's just not time. Time is a commodity, and it's not optimal to hand edit everything if you have a bunch of lineups, obviously. Right. And sometimes you end up having to take a stand on like one player, and sometimes it'll work out, and sometimes it's a complete disaster. And that's just how it goes. All right. Anything else?
So you can get this, everyone, if you want it. Theoryofdfs.com. I'm never not always promoting.
Yourself and James do the narrating. How much?
No, I do, in the advanced course. It's just me for 6 hours.
Okay.
And the tools were made by James.
Is it like I can't see Back to the Future? If you're going to see the Back to the Future series, you can't just start at Back to the Future 2 or Back to the Future 3, God forbid. Do I have to listen to the first course for 10 hours?
Well, I mean, the fact that you're playing a pitcher and the opposing first baseman, maybe you should be listening to the first. The first course is 15 hours long. That's designed for if you don't understand the game theory concepts. If I say expected value or EV and you're like, I don't know what that means, you should be listen to the first course first. But if you've been playing DFS for a while and you get the concept of expected value and what ownership means and that type of stuff, then you could probably get by going right to the advanced.
Well, I think it's important to know what the rules are and understand, and then
There's no rules.
Well, then you can. Well, you're saying there's a rule. I'm not allowed to roster a hitter against my pitcher when it's an 8-game
Not always.
slate.
I said if it was a 2-game slate, then I
added the qualifier at the end. You just yelled at me in the middle of my sentence.
Well, for this particular slate, I think it's awful.
Okay. Well, I mean, we're going to bring in, and I'm sure I'm going to be told I'm wrong. But Dave will say it in the nicest possible way, though, because Potts is like super nice. And I'm curious what Carty and Potts will have to say. But I think Dave won something last night. He'll never tell you, but I saw on his article somebody congratulated him, like at the bottom in the comments. Like, congrats. I don't know what he won, but congrats, Dave. I guess he won something. I don't know. Couldn't say. And he's probably not going to tell you because he's too modest. I'll tell you when I win. I'll take that victory lap. Actually, not really. I don't do that very often. Blender, well, you got to do it for the brand, right, Blender? You got to let people know, like, hey, and then, hey, Theory of DFS. This is how it happens. This is how you make 6 figures in MMA. And I know nothing about fighting at all.
Right, but understand that you're playing good line. You're playing plus EV lineups every single day, knowing that you're going to lose 90+% of the time, and then it's just a matter of how much do you win the 10% of the time that you do win, and depending on the volume that you play, like the volume that I play, which is not like low volume, but if I could get one first place finish a year, I'm profit on the entire year. So like I don't have to, if I post 2 or 3 screenshots an entire year, I'm up a lot of money. Okay? I'm up a lot. So just because, yes, if I was playing 150 lineups every single slate, every single site, yeah, you'd expect to see me having a screenshot every, 3 or 4 weeks or 2 or 3 or something like that. But yeah, so obviously when I win, I'm gonna post something and say, hey, won. Yeah, here's a little video with me waving, going, this is how I did it, right? Not complicated.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's complicated. And it's not complicated, right? It is and it isn't.
You just have to continue. You just have to continue having a plus EV process. And the thing is, you never know what day it's gonna happen. It's like rolling a 5,000 sided die that you get paid 50,000 to 1 on. So you're betting $1 and you're going, 293, whatever the hell number. Now you're going to lose 4,999 out of 5,000 times. I don't know which day it's going to be that I'm going to get that. Yeah, I'm going to guess right. And I'm going to get paid 10 times more than I should for the actual odds. But who knows what day's going to be. It's all right. Maybe you get it. Maybe that happens 3 times in 7 days and then it doesn't happen for the next 4 years. But
yeah,
like that's the only thing you have to understand when you play DFS, especially in large field GPPs, that the variance is ridiculous, and realizing the EV it's time, who can take a long time, right? So you could be playing extremely well and lose tons of money over the course of several months, and then bink, and next thing you know, you made all that money back, and then you have like 20, 30,000 more than you started with. Like that's what it's going to look like.
Cloud in the chat talking about yesterday with Lyles. Yeah, Lyles crushed, and he was about 12% owned. 11% owned, depending on, and I did not end up on him. I had good pitching, but pitching wasn't an issue yesterday. Put together some good lineups, but just not the right combination. I think it was Snell and McKenzie put up like 83 on DK combined, which is, I feel like that might be the highest number all season long. That's pretty wild. That's pretty strong. I'm not sure if that's what won the biggest tournaments. Of course, McKenzie a little bit more expensive than Lyles. Yankee stacks, of course, took stuff down. Your favorite stack again, Blender? Or you want to give a home run call? Because I know you're just going to check. You're just going to check.
I'm going to do the secret sauce for the home run call.
It's going to be Aaron.
Okay, let me go to the secret page. We have a secret page on RotoGrinders that specifically for home run calls. It's
premium only though. You don't give that away for free.
No, well, it's not even premium only. It's bat only. It's like you have to be friends with Carty in order to get this page, right? So I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna go to the batters section, right? I need this home run call, right? Okay, it takes a while to load. It's a very fancy system. Takes a while to load, and then I'm gonna sort by this home run column, right? I'm gonna sort by the home run column. I have 2 of them. I got 2 of them. But this is how I'm gonna. Carty, I'm blowing up your spot. I got to give out 2 of them. Is that okay? If I'm on your secret special screen.
I think that's fine.
Okay. Rowdy Tellez and Aaron Judge.
Oh wow,
they're the highest. But let me put a caveat for these 2. Aaron Judge, if you want to play in DFS, that would be in a Hunter Green lineup. Rowdy Tellez wouldn't be in one.
All right, so Dave, I know you're excited about the baseball slate. Of course, you're super excited about your Browns versus Pittsburgh later on. Are you playing Showdown?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's free money. There are people who are going to play more than one Steelers lineup, like not even as a joke. It's amazing.
It's going to be me. Hey, Dave, yeah. I'm donating to you tonight.
Thank you. I know. What's worse, though, is some of those people actually think in reality that Pittsburgh has a chance to win the game, which is even crazier. It's one thing to just think, oh, DFS game theory, but some of these people actually think Pittsburgh's going to score like a real life point, which is ridiculous.
So I'm actually donating for baseball tonight, according to Blender. You want to know why, Dave? Because Blender told me I'm not allowed to. It's against the rules, despite the fact we have an extreme home run pitcher, extreme strikeout pitcher facing an extreme home run offense, extreme fly ball offense, extreme strikeout offense, extreme home run ballpark. I'm told, Dave, and you tell me if I'm right or wrong, I'm not allowed to play a Milwaukee Brewer against Hunter Green. It's just not. DK should not even accept it. Fanduel says no. You can't do it. That's breaking the rules. It's a bad lineup. Is that something that you think
on
is
an 8-game slate? On an 8-game
He
slate.
knows how many games are on the slate.
Yeah, you left out that he
obviously-
yelled it at you. He yelled it at you while you were trying to finish your thoughts.
Obviously, I'm incredibly with Dean on this. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, obviously, Hunter Green's not going to pitch a shutout, nor do you need him to. He's going to give up 2 home runs, even if he gets 12 strikeouts. Like, it's crazy to say you can't play Tellez or Renfroe or Adames against Green.
Boom!
Blender's not even trying to be serious right now.
He's totally serious. He yelled at me for like 10 minutes.
He knows he's wrong, too. That's the funny thing. But he's
He's
so
got
dug in.
He's got a
Can't even
6-hour
admit it.
course that'll
This
rebut.
is the same guy who's putting some Steelers, more than one Steeler in an NFL lineup.
I'm
Like,
actually
for
putting
real.
Mitch Trubisky in the captain spot in some of them.
It's amazing. We love it.
He's going to get replaced in the second quarter, I'm told.
Well, then Siege wins.
Well, yeah.
That's true.
Carty, you have a thought on that out of curiosity? I should have just cut my losses because I got to win and I'm good to go.
I thought on Steelers. I thought on Brewers.
Only
On playing Tellez versus Green. Playing Tellez and Green in the same lineup.
Brewers, like you're playing against Adames against Green. Is that fine?
I would say probably not in the same lineup.
But do you
no.
play tournaments? You don't play tournaments, though.
Not usually, no.
So in cash games, of course not. But come on. I mean,
It's the vice versa. No, it's actually the opposite. You would do that in cash games, but not in tournaments.
I would much prefer to play a hitter against my pitcher in cash games. I'm not playing Hunter Green in cash games anyway, but I've done that before. That's fine. In GPPs is where you don't want to do it.
Blender?
I'm going to
Mic
put in a
drop.
couple
Is that
extra of
Carty
those
mic
lineups
drop?
right now.
Dave, Dave, take down a tournament tonight with a Brewer and Green in the same lineup.
I'm going there right now, so no worries there.
I'm going to try my best, but I'm not running a bunch of lineups.
Can I play? Is there some format where I can play Hunter Green, Rowdy Tellez, and Nick Chubb in the same lineup? It would be so great. Oh, I want it. Okay.
Maybe Prize Picks can get some kind of parlay of some sort. I don't know.
This is a good idea.
Would you rather play Nick Chubb than the Browns D? Come on, Cheese.
Well, I mean, I would play all of them,
Yeah.
obviously. I'm just looking for a way to get all these things in one lineup.
That's
Is
fair.
there weather in that game tonight, Roth? I thought I saw it's kind of
Yeah, there
murky.
is.
What's going on there weather-wise, if you don't mind? All across the board, all the sports.
Yeah, it's all about the wins all across the sports. And in Cleveland for the big game, for Cheese, the big game for most of us, nobody cares.
It's a huge game.
Yeah. It's going to be about 20 mile per hour sustained winds, gusts closer to 30. That's definitely getting up there with like long throws are difficult and long field goals are also quite difficult. So I think the wind will matter. Carty, are you in agreement there?
Oh, complete agreement. When I ran the blitz before the weather was incorporated and after, both quarterbacks dropped like 25 yards with the wind. Like it's a big deal.
Yeah.
The line opened at 40.5 and it's down to 38. This is really going to be. This should be NC-17.
I mean, this got me to take Cade York out of the captain spot and go with Kareem Hunt instead. This was a tough call.
Oh man, I'm probably gonna hate watch it, but I'll watch some of it for sure. I'm rooting for your Browns, Dave, because man, 3 days removed from an emotional. I shouldn't even be saying.
Yeah,
that.
let's just not. Let's just say you want the win, and that we'll take it and just go with that.
You got anything else for the boys here, Blender? You took your L. We can move on. We're good, right?
Now I got to make my baseball lineups, and then I got to make my Steelers lineups because if I'm gonna win the MLB slate, not playing a batter against my pitcher, I want to win that so I could donate to Cheese by playing 5-1 Steelers lineups.
Thank you.
Showdown Slate show will be on 7:30 on the RotoGrinders channel. That's why you hit the like button to subscribe and turn on those notifications. I'm going to step aside and get out of here, as well as Blender, Chief Meteorologist Kevin Roth got you the rest of the way, as well as DerekCarty and Dave Potts. Take it over, Roth.
Appreciate it, Dino. As always, good stuff. Blender Dean, thank you. Let's talk about it. It is indeed crunch time. It is indeed sponsored by the wonderful FanDuel. Sign up for the FanDuel Sportsbook if you're in a legal sports betting state. Take advantage of their awesome bonus offer, the no sweat first bet up to $1K. Terms and conditions do apply. We are thrilled. I am thrilled to be joined by two of the sharpest minds in the biz. One, Mr. Dave Potts, a.k.a. Cheese is Good. Cheese, obviously, you're pumped. But did you take down a tournament last night? Dean mentioned someone gave you kudos.
Yeah, I mean, sort of. Yeah, depends on your definition of a tournament. Yeah, it was pretty. It was pretty good. It wasn't the big tournament, and like the tournaments at this point in the baseball season are so small that it's like, yes, I did, and it's wonderful. But the Browns are playing tonight, and that's really what matters.
And that's winning a tournament here, Browns playing up here for cheese.
Yeah, I mean, let's let's talk about what matters.
Okay, Modest as always. Congratulations on your takedown.
Thank you.
I'm sure it was only $50 or so, but congratulations on the big win. We got DerekCarty as well. Carty, he is the inventor of the bat and the creator of the Bat X Enterprises, and we are thrilled to have him as well. Carty, how you feeling?
Feeling pretty good. Baseball slate's okay, but for just a disgusting football game tonight, it's fun because of the weather. And especially if you're able to hit some prop unders like yesterday or the day before, you're probably going to be stacking them bucks come tonight.
Okay. I love it. I hope that is the case, because anytime with the
I
wind,
Pittsburgh under 1.5 points. Was that a good?
The weather is the only reason anyone besides Dave would actually care about this game tonight. So it actually makes it fun.
Right. The issue with wind is that sometimes it's not as visual. Like sometimes it's really obvious and Pete's trying to punt and it's boomeranging back at them. But other times it's not quite as visually obvious as, say, the rain or the snow. But even when it's not that visually obvious, it's still super important.
Well, that's why it's underrated by everybody, by Vegas, by people who play, by the inevitable person in chat who's going to be chiming in like 10 seconds that says, wind doesn't matter, wind's fake. Like, you're wrong, guy. You're wrong. Go home.
Yeah. It does matter. No doubt about it. And sometimes, yes, it's massive winds and they try to throw deep and it gets hung up and you can tell. And sometimes it just slows the ball down just enough to throw off the timing and a touchdown becomes an interception. And maybe you don't even know that it was the wind that did it, but it was. The wind matters. The wind will matter. I am excited for that as well. Buffet, first we got to talk some baseball, where again, the wind could matter. We do have a few wind spots that are worth talking about. I should have had that pulled up and ready to go. So allow me to stall as it loads. Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, winds blowing out. New York, winds blowing out. Chicago, winds blowing out. Winds are blowing in Baltimore and Philly. And that's it for my wind spiel. But Cheese, let's talk about this slate in general here. Wins or no wins, just tell me what you've got and what you like.
Great pitching. I love it. I wish I could play like 8 pitchers and no batters. I'd play 3 pitchers with no bats and just go up against a 2 pitcher with a bat lineup.
So is it a day where you're spreading out pitchers?
Well, still only to an extent but like I'm leaving out a bunch of pitchers that are fantastic. And I mean, I don't love it. Like I don't have a single like Max Fried lineup. I mean, I don't have Julio Urias anywhere. I don't have Zach Gallen. Like there are really great pitchers everywhere. But even with that, like the offense is not as exciting, but we have all of like the best teams in the league playing, and they're facing they're not bad pitchers. They're the weaker-ish on this slate. So I love everything about today, Roth. I'm just in a glorious mood. And even Carty cannot ruin it today. Unless he tells me I can't play Hunter Green and a Brewers stack.
Okay. I don't think I'd recommend it.
Maybe I'm going too far.
Okay, well, tell me the pitchers that you like the most, Cheese. We'll start there, and then we'll work our way through.
Okay, so up top, we have Bieber, Verlander, and Woodruff. These are like the 3 very obvious. Everyone's going to see that, hey, these 3 guys are great. On FanDuel, I really think the ownership is going to be so spread out between those 3 that you don't really need to factor that into your decision. And like I've got the bat pulled up here, like all 3 of them are within less than 2 points of each other. And that's what this is. Like these guys are all great. I don't have a super strong lean, but you see all the rainbow tags on Brandon Woodruff. He does have the better strikeout matchup of this group, and he's been really good recently. And at least compared to Verlander, like the Brewers are in what must win mode and the Astros are not. So like, if the Astros have the opportunity to pull Verlander at 85 pitches because they're up 7-0, they will. Whereas Woodruff definitely has a full game, as does Bieber. But like mix and match, I would not argue with you in any order you want to rank those three.
The other thing with Verlander too is he's probably not even fully stretched anyway. Even if they wanted to let him go, like he's probably done at 95 pitches no matter what.
But let me ask, is this a situation where they want to get him to that number because they're trying to stretch him out for the postseason? So like,
but not stretch him to like past that. Like,
sure,
a stretch to like, they can stretch him 5 at a time. Like, Verlander's kind of a special case. When you get these veterans that have been around so long, like he could go out tomorrow and throw 120 pitches with no issue. Like, they don't have to work him up to that the way you would have to work a kid up to that.
Gotcha. Okay.
But yeah, I think we're on the same page there that like raw projection, Verlander's probably safest / best, but the ceiling, I lean Woodruff first and Bieber second, but really any of them are great. On DK, it's a little different because Woodruff is like $1,000 cheaper. He's going to be much chalkier there. And I would still say he's my favorite play, but that is going to be reflected in the ownership. But that's the easy part. Those three guys are awesome. I don't think anyone would argue with any of that or any of those three. Past that is where it gets a little interesting. Pricing wise, the sites are pretty different. On FanDuel, there's not much need for the kind of the upper mid tier. I think we're talking pretty much about like Mitch Keller at 7,800, Hunter Green at 8,200. Let's just stop and talk about Hunter Green. This is the wild card of this slate, like this, both sides of this matchup. We've got this guy who throws like 172 miles an hour, and he can strike out 15 guys, and he could also give up 6 home runs. Like extreme fly ball pitcher in Cincinnati against a team with power, and he strikes out a lot of guys. Like this is probably your slate decider, especially on DK where he's priced. I mean, he came back from the IL last week and struck out 11 guys. Like he's fine. He's great. But there is risk. Personally, I like Mitch Keller better at his price than Hunter Green. Like I've long been a Mitch Keller fan. I'm probably too much of a Mitch Keller fan. But 5,800 on DK is goofy for Keller against the Cubs. So I think he's the play. I'll just say that I have plenty of Green Keller lineups to release them hounds, as they say.
Oh, nice.
And so that's my whole pool. That doesn't have to be your whole pool. There's a ton of more good pitchers here. Like if you want to play Taillon or Fried or Barrios or Urias, like these guys are all good. But I am done at the 3 aces, Verlander, Bieber, Woodruff, and then Keller and Green. That's where I just had to stop because I like those 5 so much that I'm willing to pass on other good pitchers.
And Cheese, can you mix and match as you wish? Like, can you get the let's say Bieber, Verlander in one lineup together, or is that too much money? And
there's quite a few ways to make double ace lineups. The majority of lineups are going to be one of those top 3 with one of those cheaper guys.
Right.
But yeah, you can double ace it.
Okay, excellent. All right, Carty, I want to hear your take on pitcher. What say you, and what says the bat?
Yeah, so a lot of what Cheese said, like Verlander, Bieber, Woodruff at the top. Verlander has the least upside of them just because of the pitch restrictions that we'll probably see on him. And then there's a bunch of interesting mid-tier guys. Like I like Keller. I like Taillon quite a bit. Probably not as big on Hunter Green, but like the upside's there, so he's fine. But you have Barrios, you have Ranger Suarez. Like all these guys are firmly in play. That whole range of guys projects within like 2 points of each other. And none of them, aside from maybe like Fried, really projects for that much ownership. So you can kind of just mix and match those guys as much as you want. More on DK than on FanDuel, like Cheese said. But yeah, that's kind of pitching.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. Let's talk about some of the bats and some of the stacks then, Carty, and you can lead us off with whatever you feel is going to be the chalk, if such a thing exists.
Yeah, the chalk's going to be the Brewers against Hunter Green. We've mentioned, I guess, at the top of the show, Rowdy Tellez quite a bit, and there's been some discussion here. Apparently, some people are thinking about playing Hunter Green and Rowdy Tellez in the same GPP lineup. I don't get it.
Only if
but-
you want to win.
So yeah, they're going to be the chalk. Like they're fine. In cash, like you'll certainly have a few of them, Tellez in particular. There's other one. It's not like they're like the greatest team we've ever seen though. Like they project okay. I think the Dodgers and the Blue Jays are probably going to come in a little bit too low owned. I think the Pirates, I think the Cubs at their prices are really appealing. There's a handful of teams, probably 8 teams besides the Brewers that you can think about stacking tonight.
Okay, Cheese, do you also have as much love for you do as pitchers? Same with stacks, or there's 8 or so?
No, it's like it's a lesser level of the same kind of spread outedness of love. And I really think there's not any such thing as chalk. Like it's just spread out enough. I think there's like 6 or 7 teams that are going to come in really close to even. There'll be a couple of bats here and there that are higher on than others, but I do not think like you need to be concerned with ownership with like Woodruff on DK. Other than that, like with the bats, I don't think that needs to be your decision-making point.
Okay. And I think I'm just now realizing what you meant. And that is that there's just as many ways to spread out, but you don't love the bats as much as you love the pitchers.
Yeah. Like I have a similar sized pool. It's just like, I feel this great about the pitching. I only feel like this great about the hitting.
I gotcha. Okay. Well, let's talk about what some of your favorites are.
So I guess I'm going to say my favorite is Atlanta, followed by Houston and then Toronto. But again, like all of these, even the kind of bad pitchers are really not bad. Like we're not looking at gas cans anywhere on this slate, which is why I just like, but don't love these offenses. And then but they're all good teams. So like the Yankees and the Dodgers are also up there. But I mean, the Dodgers against Zach Gallen, I don't know, with and the old Mookie Boots is not in the lineup. But it's still the Dodgers. I mean, like I'm going to have Dodgers and Yankee stacks. But officially Atlanta, Houston, and Toronto are my 3 favorites.
Okay. Excellent. Anything you want to add, or shall we dive into a little position by position talk?
Position sounds good.
Please lead us off with some catcher, please.
I don't love the spend ups, but this is going to be the case at every position. Like there's the best plays are the most expensive plays, but it's not like I feel like I have to have any of these guys outside of stacks. So sure, Will Smith, Kirk. I'm just as happy saving even just a couple more dollars with Travis d'Arnaud is probably my highest owned catcher. If you need to punt, Jan Gomes is hitting cleanup. I don't love Jan Gomes, but he's a catcher hitting cleanup. I like Yainer Diaz for the Astros at minimum salary. That would be my preferred punt. If I'm punting, I'm just going to punt all the way if I need that money. But we're back to kind of the classic play a catch in your stack more than anything on this slate.
Okay. Carty?
Yeah, I'm kind of similar. Like Will Smith is good, but like you don't have to get there. Jan Gomes is the guy that I think makes the most sense as a cheap guy. Yainer Diaz if you want to go super cheap, or guys in your stacks.
Okay. Quick note in Pittsburgh, we do have a late start. The estimated start time is now 7:00, which I guess they pushed it back 20, 25 minutes or so. Do we want pitchers there in Pittsburgh, Chiefs?
That's Mitch Keller. Like he's the cheap guy on DK.
Yeah. There wasn't supposed to be rain in Pittsburgh, but there is some rain, which, doesn't happen all that often. So, Carty, why don't you talk first base real fast? I'll make sure that we look.
Rowdy Tellez, done.
Okay. Oh, Cheese is just going to agree, isn't he?
No, you can take a look. Like Rowdy Tellez is the best first baseman on the slate, and he's very reasonably priced, especially on FanDuel. He's 2.7. So in cash, you don't do anything else or you're terrible. In GPPs, you can do one-offs, guys in your stacks, obviously. Like I think me and Cheese both like Blue Jay stacks. So like you're playing Vlad, you're playing Freeman in those Dodger stacks. That's kind of the setup at first.
Okay. Cheese?
Yeah, I love Vlad tonight. If I've got money sitting around, that he's the first guy I'm going to. I don't think Tellez will probably get all that much ownership on DK compared to FanDuel, where the price is more noticeable on FanDuel. I think Josh Naylor kind of joins him on DK. He's a little cheaper. I do like the Cleveland lefties, Naylor, Ramirez, and Jimenez. So I'm happy with Naylor, but I guess the full punt on DK, Tristan the House, Mi Casas a Su Casas, as they say. He's 2,100, hitting sixth against Tyon. I think he's fine if you want to punt. But it's not my favorite position to punt all the way.
Okay, second base.
I love it so much when Carty types him. He's the fastest little type. Like, it's just like, what in the world? He probably just typed a book too.
Is it fast or is it just loud?
It's both.
He just
both. And normally you have to choose what, like, because if I want to type real loud, I can do it, but then it's going to be slow. He's just like,
right.
I was typing quietly. I didn't even think you could hear.
He's got one of those old school keyboards where like the button fully depressed, like it actually sinks in every time you touch
it's
it.
Not
like
an old school keyboard. It's a mechanical keyboard. It gives you tactile feedback, so you know you're hitting the right keys when you're coding.
I have no idea what any of that means.
That was a lot of words. Yes, tactile and coding in the same sentence. That just happened.
But there you go. It's an old, like I said, it's an old school keyboard he's got, and that's the issue.
Yep.
All right, I'm sorry.
Second base.
Second, yeah.
Wait, so you have a keyboard where you can't feel the buttons get pressed in? You just trust that you're hitting the right things?
No, I mean I can, but like you've got like an old school typewriter going on where like each button goes down like an inch when you smack it down.
You need to get a sound of the typewriter.
At the end of every line, I have to hit the thing and
sound effect. A little bit of anyhow, at second base, I think the Bat and I will agree that Torres is your best play, and he's really not overpriced. So I would definitely play Torres in cash, and I also like him as a one-off in tournaments. I like Andres Jimenez quite a bit. He was like $5,000 yesterday or something. So at 42 on DK and 28, I think on FanDuel, I like him a lot. Is this Rodolfo Castro character like good? It seems like he's just actually good.
Apparently, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either, but he's certainly acting like he's good. So I think on DK for 2,600, he's worth a shot. But you could also ask the same question, like this Cubs pitcher. I mean, he's got two. He's made two starts. Only one of them was a start, like two long out, and they've been fantastic. But I don't really buy it. I think Max Muncy I would play ahead of Colton Wong unless you're playing Wong in a Brewer stack. But that's really all I like. I like Torres, Jimenez, and kind of Muncy.
Okay, Carty, talk to me about second.
Yeah, so I'm a little different than Cheese. I like Torres. I don't think you have to get up to Torres. I like Wong quite a bit. And Zach McKinstry is 2.8 on DraftKings and 2.2 on FanDuel. He's hitting leadoff against Mitch Keller. Like, I know we kind of like Keller as like a cheap GPP guy, but it's not like he's that good. McKinstry's cheap and leading off, and I think I'm fine with that.
Okay. Quick note here on the delay. I mentioned there's the delay in Pittsburgh. I was just kind of looking at what's going on there. They should just probably play it a little wet, but they've already announced a late start. There's not a lot of rain. I don't know if they want to play it fully dry. It might be a longer late start than that, but I expect them to play. And I think the chance of an in-game delay, in fact, I know they're going to play, and the chance of an in-game delay is pretty low. So just whatever you are going to do there, keep doing it there. Okay, take me. I think we're maybe at third now, Carty.
Yes, we are. So it's kind of like Cheese said, where like Jose Ramirez is like the top guy, but like you don't have to get there. On FanDuel, I think it's easier to do than on DraftKings, but you can do it. On DK, you probably just like, if you're not getting up to Ramirez, you probably punt it with Jace Peterson against Hunter Green. He's 2.4K and he's fine. You also have David Bodie for 2.3, like who's a good punt. On FanDuel, you have McKinstry, who's eligible at third again. Also, you have this Rodolfo Castro character for 2.5. You have Mlb Dfs for 2.2. So I kind of think that's the move in cash. And then that like mid tier is like all kind of like good guys, but none are in like great spots that you can consider for GPPs. Like certainly in your stacks, you know, your Bregmans and Donaldsons and Justin Turners and Matt Chapmans and all those kind of guys.
Okay, very nice. Cheese, your thoughts?
I think I'm a little more enthused by the high end with Ramirez, Devers, and Riley specifically. Because I'm not super enthused with the high end at most other positions, like at some point I'm going to have money to spend. And so this is where I'm doing it more often is with one of those three. But I do like the salary on Donaldson is pretty noticeable. And then a bunch of play it in your stack kind of stuff. I don't mind the punt if you need it, but I would rather spend up at third person. I just like those top three a lot tonight.
Okay, let's go to shortstop, Cheese.
Here it's kind of weird in that like the guy who's projecting the best is O'Neal Cruz. And then Willie Adames and Trey Turner. I don't think it's a must spend on Trey Turner slate at all against Zach Gallen. In fact, he's outside of Dodger stacks. Like he's not even on my radar at all. I do like Bo Bichette and Dansby Swanson as spend up to be a little different. And I like Jeremy Pena about as much as Cruz as in that sort of cheap-ish or, you know, lower mid-range. I really would try not to play Zach McKinstry if you don't really need him. You might need him somewhere, but he's not on my board personally. I've landed on more Cruz and Pena just for the salary. Like it's hard to get up to Bichette or Swanson or Turner or Adames, but certainly do it if you can.
Okay, Carty, shortstop.
Yeah, I like O'Neal Cruz best, especially in cash. Adames isn't really in the same price tier as like Turner, Bichette, Swanson, but he projects the same or better than most of them. So I think I like Adames more than Cheese. I do think McKinstry is fine. Otherwise, it's a pretty gross position. You know, it's that and it's guys in your stacks. Turner in your Dodger stacks, Bichette in your Toronto stacks, Swanson in your Atlanta stacks. Like that's kind of the position.
Okay, excellent. Take me to the outfield, please.
So Aaron Judge is definitely the top guy here. I think easier to get to on DK, strangely, than on FanDuel, but like you can certainly try to make it a point to get there on either if you want to, because he's really good. Then we have the Brewers outfielders. You know, we have Yelich, we have Renfroe. They're, you know, even McCutchen is fine. We have all those guys. We have some of these Pirates guys. You know, we mentioned a couple of them along the way, but like Brian Reynolds is always way too cheap on FanDuel at 2.7 here. He's a really good play. So I like Reynolds quite a bit. I like Ian Happ a little bit on the opposite side of that game on FanDuel. I like Franmil Reyes on the opposite side of that game on DraftKings at 2.5K. Ben Gamel also in that outfield on DraftKings at 2.5 I think is really good. So yeah, that's probably it. Harrison Bader I think is fine as like a cheap guy. Yeah, that's okay. Outfield.
All right, Cheese, your favorites in the outfield?
Yeah, so the names that Carty mentioned kind of highlight the difference in the sites. Like you really don't need to punt on FanDuel because you have Reynolds at 27 and Stanton at 31 and like guys like Renfroe and Happ are under 3K. So like going for a kind of nonsense 2K guy is really just not necessary outside of stacks. Whereas on DK, almost everyone good is like at least mid fours or higher. The Brewers are priced down a little bit, which is why they'll get some ownership there. But as far as finding something cheap, Franmil Reyes is the one that stands out at 2,500. Like that's a huge price gap to where even if he does strike out 4 times, he's 2,500 and he can hit a home run. The other cheap stuff, I just don't none of it excites me individually. Like, yeah, play the Yankees with your Yankee stacks. The guys who are in the mid 3Ks, like I kind of like, but they feel kind of overpriced. Like Oscar Gonzalez and Trey Mancini type bats. Like, sure, they're fine, but why? Like that's why I'm playing Mitch Keller and Hunter Green, because I don't want to have to play those guys when I can play Keller and Green and then play Judge and Alvarez. That's just my general philosophy on the DK slate. Fanduel, you can get Bieber or Woodruff and get good outfielders.
Okay. I do believe we've only got maybe 8-9 minutes until lock. Is that correct, Cheese? We got a little.
Yeah, I guess it's still locking. Well, I guess it's still locked. It would only lock 5 minutes later if they're holding for that Pittsburgh game.
Okay. Yeah, we'll assume here lock is still going to be at 35 after, and we'll take some QQs. First, though, Cheese, one stack to win it all. Like, you've given us your 5 pitchers that you're mixing and matching, and then you've got a bunch of stacks. But if you've got this mix and match going on, what's your favorite stack?
Atlanta.
Okay, interesting. I didn't expect that. Carty?
Toronto.
Okay, very nice, gentlemen. I like it. Okay, by the way, I just got a message from someone who says, hey, Roth, I'm hearing from people at the Cleveland game that the goalposts are blowing. Yes. So I'm excited about that. But hey, anyways, let's take some QQs. We only have limited time here. So scrolling up just a little bit here. Okay, Carty, this one's for you. It's DK Cash, and it is from Achilles. He says, what are your thoughts on Mlb Dfs in cash?
I think he's fine. On which site was it? I think on FanDuel. He's like, what, 2-2 over there? Is that right? Yeah. So, yeah, I think he's fine. He's not like the guy I'd go to first, but I think he's viable.
Okay, very nice. Cheese, this one's for you. FanDuel Cash. Hap, Reynolds, or Renfro?
I would Reynolds that one.
Okay. Beast Mode, FanDuel, small field GPP, Carty. These are real people. Green is a real person. Or Wesneski.
Is this a question of which one I want to play?
I think it is, and I'm assuming it's not some guy who I haven't heard.
It's not Wesneski. He's right. The guy that we've talked about playing guys against a lot. No, it's not him.
Yeah. Okay. I assumed as much. All right. Chinatown says, hey, Cheese, I apologize profusely. He actually didn't say that, but I'm throwing it in for him. But he missed the beginning. DK Cash, double aces, Woodruff and Biebs or JV.
Yeah, I would play Bieber. I wouldn't, like, it's really toss-uppy, but I would do Woodruff Bieber.
Okay. FanDuel Cash, Carty, this one's for you. Reynolds Torres, or he says Rengoat and Cruz. I assume that's Renfro.
Renfro and Cruz.
Okay, very nice. I'm going to jump on over to the YouTube question, see if we got anything coming in there. Derek pointing out, hey, we don't have nearly enough likes. We're giving free info. We got all kinds of good stuff. He says this is unacceptable. And
if we get enough likes, I'll give you some football winners. I'm gonna give you those anyway.
We're gonna do football winners too. So make sure you hit that like button. It's free content, and it's like the best content ever. Shout out to Chris Todd, who says I click that like button every damn day. I love me some free info. We love some like button pushing, so we appreciate it. Cleveland Picker says I see you repping the city tonight. Cheese, looking good, brother.
The Cleveland guitar player?
No, he's not a guitar player.
I still think he is. I still think that's what's going on here.
Picker. He buys things and sells them. What jersey is that? Should I know who that is?
Probably. Yeah, you should.
95.
Not probably. You should. I mean, who's the best defensive player in the NFL? And that's the answer to what jersey I'm wearing. It's not even close.
The best defensive player in the NFL is TJ Watt. Right?
Obviously, you don't understand football. It's Miles Garrett. Miles Garrett.
Watt. Oh my. Okay, Garrett. All right.
Yeah, you guys don't understand football at
all. Let's see. Wow. Warren Scott says Wesneski's going big tonight.
Well, good luck with that.
You
You never know. It's baseball, but the odds are against it.
Yeah. All right. Let's see where we're at here.
You know what Myles Garrett loves more than anything? To blitz.
Oh,
That's
he's
why
all
Carty
about the
loves him.
blitz.
He is.
He's all about the blitz.
Yeah. Okay. Carry on.
Can't deny it. He's a big fan of the
from what
blitz.
I understand.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, Mochi says, "Man, that Aaron Judge BVP is brutal." I don't know. I don't know.
I'm gonna guess neither of us know what it is. I'm gonna look it up so that we can decide if we need to X him from our player pool. Okay. Derek?
Yeah.
We need
Does
to
he
X
mean
this guy from the chat. Yeah, we do.
Yeah. I don't know if he means just brutal, like, wow, he's been mashing this guy.
I don't either. I'm gonna look.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, he is 0 ISO, 0 hits and 14 at bats. I think we can't play him. That's BVP.
I mean, 14 at bats. Come on, that's like 3 whole games.
I'm gonna call an Aaron Judge home run after that. I wasn't feeling it, but now after knowing that, I'm actually calling the home run. I'm going the other way. He's hitting a bomb. Let's see. Daniel says, I keep clicking the like button, but it only goes up and down by 1. If you click it and then you click it again, it unclicks it. That's
Yes. You can't game this system.
right. Don't do that. Jeff Morgan, here we go. We got a real question coming in here. He says, Util FanDuel, Cheese, help me out. I got 3K.
3K
Yeah.
on FanDuel. I mean, there's a lot of players there. The one that jumps to my mind is Teoscar Hernandez, who's right at 3K. I'll just go with him. I mean, there's a lot of choices, but I like Teoscar.
Okay. Mochi, who brought up the BVP, says, I was just saying, man. It's fine. We get defensive.
You're not allowed.
about
You can
PvP
just
in
say
this
almost
circle.
anything except BVP when Carty is in the room.
Yeah, it's just the wrong crowd for that one, but nothing wrong with just saying it. Aaron Rasmus says, all right, Carty, DK Cash, I need your help. Pham, Reynolds, or a better $4,700 option?
I think Reynolds is fine.
Great. Okay. Derek says, Claypool or Pickens? I feel like this is football. I feel like that's a football question.
Neither of them have a chance to score a touchdown because they're not going to get a touchdown.
Accurate.
Claypool will probably get one garbage time catch. They'll probably throw to Pickens once and it will be intercepted and returned for a touchdown. So I guess Claypool is the answer.
Carty, did you have actual analysis on this?
I just gave you exactly what's going to happen.
They're both gross. Obviously, Claypool is probably the better bet.
Okay. I thought Claypool was going to be really good because didn't he start when he was a rookie? He had like 7 touchdowns in his first 2 games.
Everyone thought he was really good. He got like 7 rushing touchdowns, which surprise, he didn't keep doing that.
Yeah. Okay. I just remember like, oh wow, this is going to be the new superstar. But
he also plays with Ben Roethlisberger and Mitchell Trubisky, so that doesn't help.
No, that's not great. Okay, Cloud says Biggio or Castro, Carty in a DK GPP. Biggio completes a mini stack. Castro would be a one-off.
Complete your stack.
Yeah, do the stack. FanDuel GPP last man in. Who do you like better, Cheese? Tellez or Renfro? Those are like 2 of our favorites.
I would lean. I mean, I would lean Renfro.
Okay. Aside says, what are your thoughts?
Wait, hold the phone. Hold the phone.
Hold on.
You like Rowdy so much. You're playing him against your own pitcher, and you're going to advise someone to play someone instead of Rowdy.
I'm actually. That was my. Hey, you could do this. My actual lineups that I made to actually do it. I have one with Adames and one with Renfro.
Okay. To playing against the pitcher.
Yes.
Okay.
If you want to get, as technical as you can get, Green does strike out more lefties.
Okay.
Whoop-de-doo. But any of those guys can hit home runs.
Okay. Let's see. We're coming up on lock here. Let me see if we can knock out a couple more questions. Carty, what are your thoughts on a Cleveland stack and FanDuel single entry?
Is football or baseball? Do it both.
Yeah, Cleveland's fine.
All right. CLT Go Blue recommending a Josh Cribbs jersey. Jeez.
Oh, that would be fantastic. I almost had to put Joe Thomas on, but I decided, since Garrett's getting the 4 sacks tonight, you may as well just start there.
That's true. Is Joe Thomas, is he still on the team? Is he still playing? I know he's been.
No, he's retired.
He's done. Okay. I know he was just great for 18 years. I didn't know if that was still ongoing.
He was so good.
Yeah.
He's just one of those guys, like an all-time great who just never had a chance to play on a deal. Like he was for the worst stretch in Cleveland history. Like that was him, and yet he still is like he's such a classic. I love him. Next time, I'll wear the Joe Thomas jersey for you.
Okay, he was still like making the All-Star team, and
Pro
Bowl
Bowl
or whatever.
He's the best offensive lineman of all time, and it's not even close.
Yeah.
Again,
right.
more football analysis coming in hot.
FanDuel GBP. Hey, we hit the lock here. Torres or Muncie? Cheese.
Torres, but yes, they're so close.
One more baseball question, then we're talking football. Don't go anywhere. Last baseball question allowed. FanDuel GPP. Raymond says, Carty, Donaldson or Renfro? I'm stuck. I'm mini stacking both.
Renfro.
Okay. Very nice. And actually, we do have a post-slot question that I want to get to as well from Jay.
Jay's been asking this question for 3 days, and we keep ending early because your kid freaks out or something.
Yeah, well, that happened yesterday, not both days. Yeah, that did happen. So let's get to this one first, and then we're going to talk some football content. Jay says, hey, please, Kevin, ask Cheese and Carty their thoughts on all the rule changes coming to MLB in 2023 and how it may or may not affect projection strategy, etc. Robot Umps?
Let Carty answer the projection side because obviously that's his area.
I mean, I haven't started doing anything with it yet. Like I'm exhausted from this baseball season and the football overlap now. So once we get into the winter a little bit, I'll definitely dig in more. But it seems like stolen bases will probably go up like a little bit. So maybe I'll inflate them league wide a bit because of the base sizes. The pitcher stuff is interesting. The pitch clock, like the guys that take a long time, theoretically they might struggle a little bit just because they're thrown off their routine. But there's really no way to quantify that ahead of time. So, and then what was the third rule? So the shifts. Oh, the shifts. Yeah, the shifts are interesting. That I definitely want to look into. The problem is that we've never really had complete shift data to really fully study it the way I've ever wanted to. But at this point, I'm going to have to study it and do the best we can because the guys that are going to not get shifted now, like their BABIPs will probably go up, like Eugenio Suarez and guys like that. What I'm wondering, you may not have an answer to this yet because if you haven't looked at it, like, do you think you'll be able to individualize like each batter and look at he's hit into the shift this many times, and so like yeah, so there are certain batters where we know okay they've been shifted on 75% of the time, 85% of the time. From what the last time I looked, it's only recorded on the balls they put in play, not on every plate appearance. Which is what I was thinking. Which is what you really want. But we can still use that data to estimate and get a pretty good idea. Okay, these guys are getting shifted on a lot. Now they're not going to. This is the effect of the shift. Let's adjust his numbers to basically be like shift neutral or whatever. And that's what I'll do in the bat. Yeah. It seems like a rudimentary projection system might try to put just a league-wide, okay, this much to lefties because of the shift, and obviously that would not work because certain guys you got to go guy by guy. But it'd be so hard to do it player by player. But I mean, maybe you have enough data to do that. Yeah, I don't think it'll be too hard. It's just a matter of the data's not as complete as I want it to be. Yeah. Hey, Carty, you want to add? Yeah. I got to throw something else on your plate. I'm going to remind you of this in November. You're going to Arizona, right? Yeah. We all of us really want you, and we as me and Kevin, I'm adding them to this, do the is first game at Coors a real thing analysis if you have time to do that. I'd really like to do that. I suspect there's something there. I've never fully looked into it. That's like been on the list for a long time. That's one of those things. I've done some real like goofy pen on paper analysis, but like I don't have the ability to do the actual find out what matters. And I think it would just be interesting. I think the reason it matters, if it matters, is because of like the cognitive effect of it is like the adjustment, like the ball is not moving as much and you're used to it doing a certain thing and it's not. And so until you kind of see it a couple times and get used to it, I think there might be a negative effect, but I really don't know. Well, you've got time.
Yeah, I could literally see when you asked him to do that, I could literally see his brain going, there's so many things I have to get done. I could see the wheels turning. I'm like, oh, where does it fit?
And
in
you
the
still
priority
like you're not
list?
done with the pitcher
Yeah,
stuff.
that's kind of like the top priority this
Feel
offseason.
free to finish that first. Do the shift stuff and do the Coors Field stuff, and then just email me when you're done with that, and I'll give you the next list. Because I have stuff that I want to know that I don't.
Because
either
my
want
list
to or
doesn't
simply
have
don't know how.
300 things literally on it already.
This is a good process. Yeah, you just do
I'll
what
be
you
over
can
here
do.
looking
let
at
Cheese know.
football cards if you need anything.
Oh man! All right. Well, I think with that we can clear on it. Oh, favorite captain. Your favorite captain, both of you. I want your favorite captain tonight. If you're doing, a little single entry. So Cheese.
Like not kidding and trying to be a funny homer. Like the off the board captain that will probably win is Harrison Bryant.
Okay. Carty.
Browns defense.
Ooh, I like that. Okay, I gotta get this question because Jason asked it like 4 times. He says, hey, Carty, why is the blitz 4 points off the spread? Doesn't that mean your model is wrong if you're this far up the spread 90 minutes before kickoff?
No.
I love nothing more than Carty standing behind his projections more than Vegas and the general public and everything else. He's just like, no, no, what I'd said is right and what everyone else said is wrong. And I freaking love that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can't explain it. The blitz considers a whole bunch of things, but no, it doesn't mean that it's wrong at all.
What is the spread? What
I
is
think
the
the
number?
spread
you
is
got versus
4, and it looks like the blitz is saying maybe like 8, which is a big difference.
So you're saying Cleveland should be favored by 8 instead of 4?
That's what the blitz is saying.
This is why we love the blitz. The blitz is so correct. I can't even begin to tell you.
Yeah, but no, I mean, historically, like it's been more accurate, so I don't have a problem with it.
It's obviously accurate tonight.
Yeah, like the lines do sharpen up this close to game time. Like sharp bettors hit them, but that doesn't mean that they're fully efficient even right up until game time. Like it's not like if you were betting it, you rather would have bet it, when it was -3 than -4. But it's not like it moving 1 point means all of a sudden now it's perfect and right. Like
right.
There's lots of things that the Vegas lines do not consider. And sharp bettors kind of hit them, but even, the sharp bettors might have their projection. Okay. They say it should be -5 or -6 or -7, and they'll bet it. The books aren't like, it's not like a 1-to-1 reaction always,
Sure. And for what it's worth,
the book, like it should be 7. You got to put it there. Like they're
Right.
just betting and the books are reacting to it.
Yeah. And for what it's worth, Jason, who brought up that question, says, by the way, I love Carty's work 100%. I use it every day. I was just curious about that particular case. So, okay. Hey, with that, we're actually going to get out of here now. That was, as always, just a wonderful, wonderful show. So for Cheese and for Carty and for our fantastic production crew, always working hard behind the scenes, guys, we appreciate you. We love you. Go Browns. You have been crunched.